Let's look at working with outlines. One of the members is trying to do an outline of what essentially is going to be some sort of a frame, and we want to know how to do an outline, and we're going to expand on that just a little bit, because what this person wants is the outside. So let's go to the project he has in mind. What it is he's got a four-cornered thing here, and we're going to work with it. In just a minute, I got to get the right pattern. Okay, here's the pattern. So if I hold down Control, click on all those things, I can click on Outline, and I get lots of outlines, all kinds of different paths. I have one here that takes care of the outside. Okay, and if I look at the others, I'm not getting a closed circuit on this inner path for some reason. And all these others are just things that I'll throw away. So I have a problem. So let's go to Edit and Undo. And let's look at this. And believe me, this took a little bit of time. A couple of us have worked on this to see what the problem is. I'm going to expand this sideways and up and down so that I have more body in my pattern all the way around. Now let's try it again. Hold down Control, do all these, and do an outline. And, hey, I was lucky. Okay, here's my outer path, and here's my inner path. Okay, so all I had to do was expand it so that I had more body where the one piece actually connects with the other, because they're mirrored across there. Okay, so these others are just extraneous things that I'm not going to deal with. So to keep it simple, I'm going to highlight all those and throw those away. So now I've got my two paths. And if you see this, this is just a warning so you know what's going on. And I'll show you here when we go to load the card. On this outer path, even without a cutout, it's awful close to the edge. Okay. What you're going to get as you load the card is that, hey, it's going to tell you that you may run into a problem with the rollers. So I'm going to apply the cutout just so we know what's going on. I'm going to flip the cut. I'm going to hide the cutout, and I accept it. That gives us our outside. Okay. On the inside, I'm going to apply the cut, and usually I don't go all the way through with any particular cut. I want a max cut depth of 0.250, and I'll do it in steps. That way I don't break my bit. I've found a long time ago that some wood is too hard, and the way it's working, it's just, to me, it's a little better. The hardness of the wood and the speed of the movement around the board puts a lot of pressure on the cutting bit. But there's my inside path. This time I just want to hide the cut. And there I have my frame on the front side. I haven't done anything to make an indentation or anything, but I've got the frame, and now I can save this as my new thing, and all I have is what I needed. Now when I load it to the card, I get this message that's telling me that there's a problem. I can do an automatic jig, I can do a manual jig, or I can ignore it. In my case, I'm aware that my design is taking me to to the limits of the board. And I know how I'm going to cure that. I'm going to click ignore and let it go ahead and compile. And I have to wait, so I'm just going to pause this for a second. Okay, on normal it's going to take 1 hour and 36 minutes. If I put it on best, it goes up to about 2.5 hours. And I click upload and it's doing that upload. I'll pause. Okay, the card is loaded. So the other thing I want to do is show you that on the board settings here, the width on this thing is 11.273. So if I put in like a 12-inch board or a 13-inch board, on the width, and obviously I'm going to use something 7 or 8 inches longer than the length, but the width is the main thing. If I use a wider board than 11 1/4, and make it like an inch bigger at least, then as the machine starts through this process, it will say, hey, I can make this bigger, I can resize it, and I'm going to say no, keep the original size. And then I will place it on the board how I like, whether that's centered or on the edge or whatever. But that way I will have a rail guaranteed for this particular job. And that is just a little bit of insight on how we can work with outlines, and if necessary get one on the inside and the outside. But if it doesn't do both, then I've got to manipulate my pattern in such a way that it does it. And on this particular one, the original design was such that there wasn't enough material to accommodate the inner closed path. So I had to give it more material within those corners in order to get that to happen. I hope that helps.